effective AI models, same chips can also be used for developing, for example, missiles or such AI models which are not desirable. So that is the warfare which is happening. It is not traditional warfare. It is actually happening in cyber where US don't want those powerful chips to come to China. Now, the CEO of that company, Jensen Huang, came to India in August. He met the Prime Minister. And the only message Prime Minister gave to him, which I understand, was India has gone past every single technology. They have taken leadership. But इस technology में India ने leadership नहीं ली है. How do I do that? And he says, if you want, it is not only Indian AI skill sets, which India has in plenty, but you will also have to make the supercomputer, the cloud for AI in India itself, because only then you can have the real autonomy and only then you can make your AI models in India for India. And that is where from that time to now, there is a race against time, which many of us are trying to do of building that infrastructure in India. And the Shakti Cloud, which I talked about in the morning, and I'll actually present a little bit more in this session, is actually the effort in that direction. How do we make that supercomputer, the AI cloud in India? And equally important, as I said, I raised the second point was, today, while the data may be so-called localized in India, but that is still running in clouds which are owned by foreign cloud operators. In the current geopolitical scenario, where the foreign cloud operators are not only guided by the law of the land, which is law of India, but they are also guided equally by law of their respective countries. And they have to sometimes make a balance between which law to follow when there is a gray area coming in. And we can see that when some social media posts come in, how there is a little bit of tussle between government and those social media operators. We can see that there is always a challenge, and India would like to have not only data localized, but also the cloud underlying infrastructure to be in the control of and operated by and developed by Indian citizens and not by foreign citizens. These are the two topics which I wanted to talk. Before I, make my presentation, let me just run two small videos of 1 minute each, which will give you a glimpse of these two clouds, which we are planning to introduce in first quarter of next year. Videos, please.
In a world driven by data, where innovation is key, meet the brilliant minds at Tech Startup Racing to develop the next big thing. Presenting Shakti Cloud, an innovative GPU cloud solution that helps you to take your AI models from concept to reality. Build your ML models with ease. Unleash the power of GPU for lightning-fast model training. Deploy models to production all in one place. With Shakti Cloud, you're not just developing models, you're transforming the future. Shakti Cloud, empowering innovation.
I'm sure you must have noticed the nomenclature. The nomenclature of the services is Yantra, the nomenclature of services Shakti, and even many of the services you must have seen the names which are pure Sanskritized Indian cultural names. So if you are making something which is for India by Indians, even the nomenclature has to be Indian. Uh, Before I start this presentation, one disclaimer: many of the slides you will see in this presentation have actually been created by ChatGPT. I've been given 15 minutes, but the topic is so vast, so I'll try to cover the thing very fast. And whatever I'm not able to cover, I have a booth outside, and we can have a session throughout the day. Me and my colleagues are available. Quickly, let me just take the first topic of the AI cloud. As you can see, AI is transforming the lives. Our personal life is transformed, but even the corporate life, financial services, consumer internet, healthcare, retail, manufacturing, transportation, you name the industry, everywhere AI is coming at a speed which we never thought. Generative AI, which is essentially ChatGPT, as we know, is something which is coming with much bigger force. So anything to everything. You give a text, the output comes image. You give an image, the output comes as text. You give an image, the output comes as text. You give an image, the output can come as a video. You give the image, the output can be a 3D graphics. So this is something which is transforming. While AI was impacting our life big time, but ChatGPT, generative AI, this is something which is impacting our lives on an immediate basis in a much big way, and our personal lives have got impacted in a big way. And they are saying that this is one technology which will actually increase the revenue of the targeted industries by almost 10%. Only generative AI. You can see this is talking about many industries where generative AI is supposed to increase their revenues by anywhere 4 to 5%, which actually results into billions of dollars. Some of the areas where generative AI in these industries is going to impact much bigger are areas like marketing and sales, customer operations, product R&D, software engineering, and many such areas. Uh, One big factor why we are talking about this AI cloud, by the way, this image is ChatGPT image, uh, is India needs to have its own LLM. ChatGPT has been trained on foreign data. That data may not be necessarily Indian data. India needs to have its own large language models, which actually is capturing India's cultural and linguistic diversity, which actually is honoring India's data privacy and sovereignty, which has got localized content and context, which is giving economic and technological independence to India. It is going to be made in India using Indian data and hosted in India, which can be customized for various sectors. Like you can have a separate, for example, if I talk about the next, it's not only India LLM which is needed, but what is the need and what is the way we will be seeing in our lives is you will have a LLM specifically for healthcare. You put your diagnostic report in that and it will give you very great technical details, the output of doctors, for example. You need education LLM, you need legal LLM, you need energy sector LLM. So these are the new waves which are coming in. And all these waves which you will start seeing in coming times, all these waves, all these AI models which we are talking about continuously, the key factor behind this is underlying infrastructure which will be running these models. You must have heard about it, that how these models are working. You actually are having powerful machines, not the machines which you see, for example, on our desk or in our traditional data center. These are the machines which are run by the chip called GPUs. These hundreds and thousands of those machines need to be trained with data which is equivalent to, let's say, 10 internets put together. That amount of data you put in these machines become intelligent and then they start giving you results. So if you have to put a setup like that, the compute infrastructure, the network infrastructure which connects this compute and the underlying data centers need to be so strong. To give you an example, because I run data centers, so I can give you one example from data center point of view. My traditional data centers, even which are running some very big websites and all, may require, let's say, X amount of power per rack, 6 kilowatt of power per rack. But when I'm actually putting this model, which will be live in February in my data center, I am putting almost 40 kilowatt of power per rack. The amount of power this infrastructure is consuming is so humongous. The amount of engineering we are ending up doing just to run this AI supercloud in our data center itself is a separate piece of engineering. So this is one infrastructure which I'm talking about is something very important which India needs to have. And that is where this cloud, Shakti cloud comes in, which is a cloud essentially, which we are saying it is India's first and truly indigenous AI cloud, HPC cloud, delivering those GPU computing infrastructure, platform and services. This is something which is making sure that whether it is governments, whether it is enterprises, whether it is research lab, whether it is IITs, whether it is startups who want to make AI models, all of them, instead of using either not having any technology infrastructure to build this model or using the infrastructure of maybe some US based provider, they will be able to make these models right here in India. And the model which we are putting, the software layer we are putting in this model is can run all the AI use cases, whether it is training the model or after that using that infrastructure for the inferencing purposes. This supercomputer which we are putting in will be India's fastest, and I'm being told that this will be among the largest supercomputer model in the world, which is going to be having 16,384 H100 GPUs from NVIDIA running at a speed of almost, which can make the which can process the transactions equivalent of 16 exaflops. It will have a network. I can just give you idea of what type of infrastructure it will be. First time when I saw this image, I myself got perplexed that what is this? It is essentially showing hundreds and thousands of computing nodes connected to network devices through lakhs and lakhs of cables, so that all those computing nodes are connected to each other and they can work as a single whole and single cluster to train those AI models. Of course, it needs very high speed storage, it needs very high redundancy, it needs super high connectivity to internet so that the data can come in these models, you can train these models, and after that the model starts giving you results. It needs some super high connectivity to internet. Of course, these models will be prone to attacks. Obviously, there will be a lot of people who would not want India to succeed, so you need to have a super high cyber security services around this model, because this will be connected to internet. And of course, this model, again coming to sovereign, not only this model need to be built by Indians and operated by Indians, it also need to be hosted in India on an infrastructure which can support this type of infrastructure. So this model which we are putting in Shakti Cloud is actually going to run in our data center, which I talked in the morning. It is Asia's largest, world's second largest uptime tier 4 data center. We have partnered with NVIDIA. As I said, the only company right now which is practically having a monopoly on these GPU chips across the world is NVIDIA. So NVIDIA CEO had promised that to our Prime Minister that they will be supplying the chips. There is a global shortage of these chips. Every country is running after NVIDIA to have some chips. But NVIDIA CEO made a promise to Prime Minister that they will make NVIDIA chips available to India because it's for the country. And they are actually living through the promise. The first set of chips will be made available to us in January, and that is where then we'll be making this setup live in the month of February. The model which you're making, you must be talking about, okay, he's talking about a lot of infrastructure, a lot of compute, a lot of network, a lot of storage, but how do we use it? You are an end user, maybe you want to make an AI model. You want to make an application which use some AI model. How do you use it? What we are doing is, we actually are creating a complete software layer, orchestration layer on the top of this compute, on which the startups can develop their AI models, they can train their AI models, and then of course they can deploy for the end user purposes. This obviously shows the entire cycle, which is actually going to run in our cycle. So whether you want to develop the model, whether you want to train them, you deploy them, all this entire cycle of software development is actually, before you put the model to production, is actually going to run in the Shakti Cloud, which our end users will be using. This again is showing, I'm actually making it very fast, but fundamentally this slide is talking about that the end users will be able to come on the Shakti Cloud. They will be able to use some underlying already pre-trained models which will be making it available. You can put your data on those models, train those models as per your requirements. Once that model is trained as per your data, it's ready to be put into the field. Again, you can run that model for inferencing purposes. And the bottom part is showing that maybe you as a startup, you as a company is just trying out, you want to make a small model. So you can start with a smaller capacity by taking small capacity in this cloud. But tomorrow your model increases, you want to put lots of data in that, or it increases in popularity, you want to make it much bigger, you want to use much more parameters. The model will be requiring then much larger capacities of GPUs, and that is where the capacity which you're putting in the supercomputer is. If you want to scale it from a 1 GPU capacity to thousands of GPU capacities, that scaling underlying infrastructure will keep on giving it to you. This slide actually again is showing a whole lot of software frameworks which are going to be made available in our Shakti Cloud, that not only the underlying cloud storage and network is there, but on the top of that, all these software frameworks will be available as ready-made solutions from NVIDIA and also from open source community. So when you are as a startup are coming on this cloud, you are not just saying, okay, mil to gaya, abhi kya karu main? How do I go about making my AI model? You will have lots of pre-trained models, lots of software tools available. You can use them, put your data, and then make your models and make your applications on the top of that. Well, this is reconfirming that this This Shakti Cloud, once it is introduced, it will actually unleash the real AI wave in India, because then you have the infrastructure. This infrastructure costs, just for your info, cost thousands of crores of rupees. Obviously, not everybody can invest that type of money. People would like to use the infrastructure on a usage basis. As much as I use it for few hours. I will pay for couple of thousands of rupees for using that, and then I make my model. After that, if I'm successful, I will scale it up. So that is what we are doing. And then this model is available to every single startup, every single enterprise, every single government department. And that is where we will see the real AI wave coming into India. Coming on the second topic, as I was talking about, India needs as much a public hyperscale cloud. You have heard about AWS, Azure, Google, and many cloud operators, but they're all foreign cloud operators. I already talked about you why it is very, very important. It's not only data localized in India, but it's also very important that the cloud is owned by, operated by, completely following the law of the land. Such cloud is required in India, and Yantra is an effort in that direction. So this is an indigenous cloud platform built for enterprises within India, for India on their mind. And the purpose is very clearly: can we give to Indian enterprises, to Indian governments, a cloud which is as good as you expect from a top global hyperscale cloud, but which is actually owned and controlled by Indians? Cloud, actually, what we are putting in, we are making efforts on this cloud for last 2 years. A lot of efforts have gone into this, and now we are going to launch it in Q1 of 2024. It has got many, many elements, and possibly I'll show you the next slide to explain these elements. Slide you saw in the morning also. This cloud actually has got if you possibly go to a hyperscale cloud service provider's website, or if you see their presentation, you will see this slide almost equivalent of that. Essentially, what we are doing right in our first attempt, when we are putting this cloud in India, we are making almost every single service which a hyperscale cloud operator is providing in India. So whether it is, you can see in the center, there's a core cloud services. You can see various types of compute, virtual machines, VDI services. You can see operating system licenses, database licenses. You can see Kubernetes clusters, network services of different types, storages of different types, disaster recovery services, database application services. On the left is managed, which means data migration from your other cloud to this cloud, or your on-premises to this cloud. And on the extreme right, you can see security services to secure your application on this cloud. You can also see dev cloud, which means you don't need to make your applications and then port into this cloud. You can actually, we are giving a complete framework for development of your applications into this cloud itself. That is where our dev cloud comes in. And you can also see some very, very unique thing which no third-party cloud operator, hyperscale cloud operator will ever give, because they compete with each other. You can see something called third-party clouds, and you can see on the top multi-cloud orchestrator. What we are giving is that Mr. Enterprise or Mr. Government Department, not only we understand you are not only going to consume my cloud, given your different type of variety of loads, you are going to run some workloads possibly on my cloud, but for some services, you also might want to run some of your workloads on a third-party public cloud. We are giving a single multi-cloud orchestration layer, where through a single pane of glass, you will be able to consume all clouds, not only my cloud, but you'll also be able to consume, provision, and manage and monitor other clouds as well. So effectively, single control. While you will like to use all the services of sovereign cloud, which is my cloud, but if for some cloud busting purposes or for using some services, you do need to go to other clouds, you can do even that as well right from this cloud itself. I think I showed you in the video. This is how it looks like. It just shows some of the screenshots of this cloud. We are actually introducing this cloud in a highly redundant way. We are introducing this cloud from 2 regions. It is going to run in our Mumbai data center. The second region is going to run in our Delhi data center. We are introducing a small part of this cloud in Gift City, Gujarat, where our data center is coming up next month. And we are also creating 2 edge nodes. So in our cloud, we also are introducing edge computing. So tomorrow, if you have use cases of 5G, IoT, and edge computing together for some real-time analytics, we are also putting edge nodes to start with in Chennai and Calcutta, but increasingly we'll start putting edge nodes, our edge cloud nodes, across the country into multiple cities. And of course, the whole idea of this cloud was you are getting a cloud which is made in India. You are getting a cloud which is completely compliant. There's no gray area whether it will follow the law of the land. There's no compromise between law of the land versus law of some other country. It's clearly following the law of country. It is going to be very cost effective. You are not going to get the bills of lakhs of rupees which you get from some foreign cloud operators. Infinite scalability, integration with all the services, very, very easy to use. I think you got a glimpse in the video. The UI UX of our interface you saw, it is extremely easy to use, world-class infrastructure, and of course, strong customer support. We are giving multiple services to make sure that your journey to this cloud become very, very smooth. We are giving developer environment. And this is a small analysis. I just wanted to complete my presentation by showing you this analysis. And the purpose of this analysis was, today there is a overall image in the market. I'm sure you may be carrying this image. I'm sure most of the enterprises are carrying this image. If I have to run a very large scale application of mine, इंडियन क्लाउड ऑपरेटर से कुछ नहीं होगा, हमें Amazon और Google पे ही जाना पड़ेगा. उनके पास ही सर्विसेज हैं. Even if they are foreign, but at least उनके पास सर्विसेज हैं, उनके पास स्केल है. This is the myth we want to break. While we are creating a cloud which is completely Indian owned, Indian developed, and Indian operated, completely following the law of the land, but this cloud actually is coming up with same set of services, with same scalability, with same security, with same features, and possibly better features compared to what you can get from global cloud operators. So you can see here, I've just put some range of services, whether I am giving those services, so I'm making sure I'm giving all those services which global cloud operators are also giving, may not be available from Indian cloud operators. Of course, when you use these cloud services, this is my last slide. Of course, when you come to Yotta to consume Yantra and Shakti Cloud, this is a given. These cloud services need to be empaneled with Government of India. That's what I am. I'm empaneled with METI under all the categories. We are empaneled with RBI. We are following all the cyber security compliances. We are following all the other compliances which you expect from a technology service delivery company. Thank you very much. I hope I have been able to manage the time within the time slot given to me. In case you have more questions, you want to have more discussions around this, me and my entire team of senior leadership, we all are here. We have come from Delhi and Bombay and outside throughout the day and also in the dinner. Please have conversations with us. Look forward to have discussions with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sunil Gupta. That was like wonderful, I would say. Before you leave, I would like to request Mr. Biswaranjan Samal, he's IS and the Additional Chief Secretary, Department of Higher Education, Government of Assam, to kindly felicitate Mr. Sunil Gupta with a memento on this beautiful day, a momentous occasion of the Digital Transformation Conclave and Awards. Thank you so much, Mr. Sunil Gupta, co-founder, Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, Yotta Data Services.